T Love, and we're here to just do things and talk about stuff and streaming stuff. So I'll just, yeah, so we're already starting off as a Baka. We're starting off right as a Baka. So we're going to go ahead, introduce yourselves. We're going to start with the person to my left on my screen. So it'd probably be the one who's talking. There we go. We'll just do the one who's talking now. You. There you go. There you go. And the sleepy bear. For real. Oh crap! 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 Give me a second. I don't know why my desktop audio is not recording. Might have to do the intro again. You can? Are you sure? Yeah. All right. Let me. Give me a second. God dang it! I'm so tired. Why is nothing else working? What the hell, game?
I cannot see
Um,
your. I can't see analytics at
There you
all
go.
for Gridcast
Okay.
whatsoever.
I think I got the audio working.
Grid Connect is what I meant.
All right. So,
Gridcast.
welcome everybody. I am here. I am the
Hey.
host, T Love. Already started off as a dumb baka today. We're going to talk
Oh.
about things and stuff. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to let Hero introduce himself for the second
yeah.
time. We're going to get nailed on the head this time. Go ahead.
Okay. Let's see if I can make it just as funny as before. Oh, we're gonna do things and talk about stuff. Hi, I'm Hero. Herodotus Herodotus the second, Herodotus you, however you want to say it.
Oh, man.
I'm here to do things and talk about stuff. Because it's funny the second time around.
Yeah,
Hey.
that coffee is kicking in right about now.
Sure is.
And now that the bear has waken up a little bit, just a little bit, let's go ahead and let it introduce our last person.
8 hours is ridiculous. Especially if you weren't expecting it. Oh God, it's terrible. Feels bad. My name is Rob. A somewhat variety streamer, play on Twitch, player on Twitch. Right now, I'm hooked in Dying Light and WoW when the expansion comes out, but more survivalist type games for right now. Doesn't mean that's gonna change. Not gonna change. So we'll see. So yeah.
All right. So the first topic of today is going to be mainly of how do you conduct your streams, such as how do you are you entertaining? What do you do to keep yourself occupied and conversation going and as such? Um, I've been technically right now. I've been experimenting a couple of things, a couple of ways to conduct my stream. For the last 2 weeks, I've been having people on my voice comms. I've showed that it's more interactive for me, but it's a double edged sword for me. So I know, Hero, you were talking about wanting to take a look and try that out. Um, for me, it works well when the conversations are great, and especially at the end of the stream when I'm like already kind of tired, it works out perfectly. But at the beginning, or if I have a stream where I'm focusing on specifically with story, or I have certain set things I want to accomplish, the conversations a lot of times don't kind of gear towards this and it derails everything. And for me personally, especially
Does it
when you're
knock you
trying,
off your game?
it knocks me off my game, but on top of it, it also it disengages me from the actual conversation. So I have people
Yeah.
in my chat a lot of times, and we'll have a conversation, and I'm trying to keep the conversation going with the people on comms, but in the same sense, I'm
Mhm.
trying to make sure I'm keeping a conversation going with chat, and that at the same time trying to play the game is very
Yeah.
disengaging for me, and I gotta remember the stream isn't my stream personally isn't for me to have fun or let me take a step back. It's not for me to ignore chat and play the game. It's more so for me to entertain the chat, talk to the chat, but also bring in other people to continue the conversation going. So I've been experimenting for the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
I will probably have designated times because it works well. On the days that I have it, it works very well. But I think when I have
Mhm.
designated days, and that's what I would suggest, you have say, hey, today is going to be a multiplayer game. It's just going to be for me to just chill, play games, whatever. I'm okay with comms. But today, I'm going to focus on getting this stuff done, whatever the case may be. And then, if I need to call in a friend or whatever, I can hit up Harop or hit up someone who's on comms, whatever, and have that
Yeah.
conversation going so I can keep that last hour within me, whatever the case may be. But just make sure whatever you're focused on doing during that stream time, you're focused on doing it. So, that's
I
me.
think I th- I think you can have it both ways in a way. It could depend. Like you said, it depends if it's. It depends on the person. You could do a story driven stream with chat and comms if you wanted to, but just do it not during a story heavy part of the game. Uh, like, all right, so if this game, let's say like WoW or something, so I throw it out there, you're going to do a quest line. Basically, that's going to be boring. When you are just doing just quest line, and that's going to be boring. You're going to be like by yourself most of the time, unless you have a party. Then you could be on comms with the party and stuff like that, or you could just do it by yourself and just talk to chat, or have voice comms if you want with other people to keep you awake, keep you alert, keep you going through that. Just ignore the grind and while you're having a conversation, right? For stuff that like what T was saying, I think if you know ahead that you're doing story part, a part of the game that's really heavy of story, I would say right now I'm in a part of the game where it's heavy on a story and I want to pay attention to the thing, so I'm not going to have comms right now. But as soon as the story heavy part of it is done, and I see that we're not having any more heaviness where I need to concentrate, then do comms. You can have them in if you're a Discord, you can have them in the thing, just have them muted and deafened, so you can do that part. They can still talk to each other, and then after you do that part, you come back into the channel or undeafen yourself and start talking again. So you can still have it both ways if you want to. You don't have to have certain days. I mean, up to you if you want to, Hero, if you want to do that kind of thing.
Mhm.
But I would say you never know when it's going to be a really long downtime, and then you're not going to have that. You're not going to have that people in Discord. You're not going to have that type of people in chat. So it's always to have that open just in case, and if just let them know ahead of time. Um, I may come to a point where I need to deafen and mute y'all so I can listen to the story, and let them know ahead of time, and they'll be all right. They can still have their conversation, and you can still do what you need to do. And then when you finish, you unmute and deafen yourself, and go back to the conversation and continue grinding if it's a grinding part of the game, or going through a dungeon or something like that. So, just I would say let them know ahead if you're going to have people start coming into your channel
So
and do comms.
I think that's a really first of all, thank you for bringing this topic up. So I had my second stream ever yesterday. So I am definitely the newest streamer here. Just like literally just got into it last week. Um, and I have already set up a story day, which is going to be Saturdays. So I do Saturdays from 2 to 6, and Sundays from 2 to 6, and that's it. My Saturdays are story game days, like single player games only, and so I am not in voice comms at all. And because I'm going to tell you why. So like I get what you guys are saying. Like it can certainly help with things. For me, and you can ask any of my pals from the WoW days, I am so bad at listening to conversations in voice and then seeing people type things. Now, it's probably a little bit different in kind of the stream sense, because it's totally separate. And like I'll look over here for stuff going on in the chat, where I just don't look down in like guild chat or raid chat or party chat or whatever it is in WoW, and I miss everything that happens down there. That being said, because I am so new to streaming, I am streaming Octopath Traveler right now, and we are basically every single Saturday that I stream it, I get through 2 chapters for two characters. So, or I guess 1 chapter for 2 characters, 2 total chapters. And just last stream yesterday, I had some pals, some good real life friends, some friends that I've just recently met on Twitch and whatnot, who are talking about all kinds of different stuff. It's like they start off kind of talking about the game, so I'm answering questions about the game as I'm going through the story and whatnot. I take a break from reading anything to go to reading any of the text that comes up, story text. They started talking about games like Fire Emblem, games like Kingdom Hearts, and then someone mentioned something about like 1,000 has sure changed a lot since last I checked, and I had no idea what they were talking about. I was like, what do you mean 1,000's changed a whole lot since you last checked? What does that mean? That sentence doesn't make sense to me. So I was like trying to ask them, I was like, what do you mean? What's going on? And one of my real life friends made fun of me. It's like, come on, keep up, streamer. And basically they're talking about a skill called 1,000 Spears in the game that only attacks 5 to 10 times. And so like it's very underwhelming for it to be called 1,000 Spears. And so they were talking about that, but it was in the middle of all this Fire Emblem and Kingdom Hearts and all this other like conversation that's going on, and I was like completely lost. It's like just chat alone is like I'm able to keep up with it for the most part while playing a story game, but even just having chat is sometimes difficult. Just when other conversations happen, like all the other conversations were going fine, but when it came back to a conversation about the game, I was lost. So I can definitely see.
Sometimes hard. It's sometimes hard to keep up with chat.
I can see when you're focusing on a story game, looking at chat and having comms. And actually, perfect example. I was watching Flame Draco last night too. He was playing Fire Emblem, but he had a whole bunch of other folks in his chat talking about who could beat Thanos. So like a whole bunch of different conversations going on with that, talking about how Chester the Cheetah could beat Thanos. It's a long story. We're not going to get into that.
But to add to that, I used to do the same thing. I used to have like topic of the day inside my chat of, okay, who would win this fight, and the character and the subject line, because I used to do these kind of discussions with you and me, Harap. We used to have these discussions like who would win this fight and have that, and it's great to have those conversations. It's fun as hell, but it's you just gotta make sure that you and your chat are on the same page of, okay, if it's gonna be heavy driven, let your chat know. Like Harap says, I want to be focused on the game for a bit. I want to let you guys have your conversation, and I want to continue going because a lot of people come in to your chat to have conversations and me just not about just the game, but about other random stuff on there. And it's great to have those connections on there.
Well, and what I'll say about Flame, like I honestly think Flame handled it really, really well. So like I started like throwing some stuff out there. It's like, wow, these arguments are weak. Or okay, we're starting to get better arguments. They started
Mhm.
talking about Sword Art Online and if
Mhm.
Thanos could survive Sword Art Online. I was like, oh, these are better.
Oh, of course. It's
Obviously.
your anime,
Okay.
so it works.
Yeah,
All
yeah.
right. Okay.
Um,
All right.
and so like I was participating with this like side conversation. Flame then ended up saying like, "Oh man, I really wanted to talk more about Fire Emblem. Rip." But I was like, he was saying like, "Oh, some guy in my chat saying that y'all's arguments are weak. You need to come up with better stuff." It's like we're having kind of this fun stuff going on, but then after a little bit, like everything went silent, and then
Mhm.
Flame started talking to me about Fire Emblem because I'm really excited about the new Fire Emblem that's coming out on the Switch. So he was basically saying like, "Hey man, what do you want to know about Fire Emblem? Like, what do you know of it? What was the last one that you played?" And I had to confess I haven't played any of them. And so he was starting to like give me a rundown of like what everything was, like the different characters that I would recognize, where they kind of fall into it. And then that was when I kind of realized like he turned off voice comms to have a conversation with just me about Fire Emblem, about
Yep.
his game. And I mean, that was perfect. Like all of a sudden, I come out of lurking
Mhm.
and I am like filling his chat with text
Mhm.
with questions and saying like, "Oh yeah, no, I totally remember this guy." And so like I think he handled it perfectly. Like first of all, I get engaged a little bit with like this other conversation that he's having. He's really wanting to have a conversation with me about Fire Emblem, and so he makes the decision to turn off his voice comm and just where I can hear him. And then yeah, all of a sudden it's like a bunch of conversation back and forth. So
That's smart.
it's exactly what you guys were talking about. It's like finding a point where it's like, okay, let's cut this off and let's talk about this.
Yeah, that's smart. Because most of the time when me and Rob are doing our thing and we're on comms, because we gotta keep we could be playing two separate games and we're just wanting to talk and
Yeah.
just having to hang out. Most of the time, we have the rule, the spoken rule between us saying, hey, if our chat wants to have a conversation or it comes to a point where I need to focus on the game in my channel, I mute myself and I deafen you. That's just a agreement that we have between ourselves. So it works great with that. It's just when you're in a chat with a bunch of people and we're playing a game and we're doing that, I gotta get into that same habit mindset of okay, it's an unspoken rule time. I need to drop this. I need to say, hey, deafen this, focus on that, and call it a day.
Right.
It's just
Right.
balance. It's a lot of multitasking, a
Basically,
lot
yeah.
of concentration, a lot of focus and pulling there. And it's just very difficult to
So that's what I'm gonna struggle with today. So,
do.
so I've made the choice to do story games on Saturday, multiplayer games with pals on Sunday. So today the plan is to play WoW. You know, I might just go through like the pre-patch quests and whatnot, or pre-expansion quests or whatever it's called.
It's gonna be an hour. Don't worry about it.
And
Spoiler alert.
what I'm hoping for is that a bunch of my friends are going to get on. And we're going to do battlegrounds or arenas, have fun, and that's where that'll be my very first experience ever with playing or streaming, playing a multiplayer game with pals with voice comm and everything. So it'll be interesting. So it's only an hour
Oh my god, my
because
heart.
I've already played like 30 minutes of
Give or
it. So
take.
like,
Give or take. I'm gonna give you max an hour because I don't know if you're gonna read everything. So I'm gonna give you an hour.
so yeah, I'm trying to read everything. So I at least like speed read it so I can get the gist of what's going on.
Yeah.
Do
Give or
you
take,
get
it's a-
anything at the end?
Oh man.
You'll find out when you get through.
Oh man.
I'm not gonna.
Well, I'm
spoil it.
talking like gear wise.
Oh, gear wise, yes.
Okay.
Once you finish everything, you're not gonna get gear from the last quest. You're gonna get it when you finish. So once you get through the the storyline of the current week, which is last week's stuff,
Yeah.
You'll open up. Is that a spoiler? Or
I,
whatever.
I think actually I already know. It's like you open up something in Silithus, and then you have to do a bunch of stuff, and you get things from it.
Well, you go through that. If you haven't, have you done the artifact thing?
No.
Have you done anything?
I have gone to Astronar.
Then leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone. Leave it alone.
All right.
Don't want to spoil
Alright.
too much because he already knows that much. So
All
that's
right. Cool.
awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Maybe
So
it's gonna be more
maybe
because
maybe playing WoW today is not going to go very well for me for a 4-hour stream.
If you hadn't done stuff with your artifact weapon, it may be more than an hour because I thought you were on this week's pre-patch stuff.
Well,
I
that brings up a good
yeah, I
topic.
haven't done much with it.
That brings up a good another the second topic is planning. You're planning stuff of your stream. So my biggest thing, and I have this discussion. Me and Harap have this discussion a lot. Um,
Mhm.
what are you doing for the stream today? That was one of our, I guess every day is kind of
It's
comes up.
every day.
Every day we
You
talk.
ask
It's
that
like,
question.
what are you
Yeah,
doing today in stream? And we set out what we're gonna do and what we're gonna plan,
yeah,
and then we set up other things that might happen on the side note, so we have other varieties to do. So if your
yeah,
goal is to play a certain game and the game does it falls out or something like that, it's always great to have something on your backup to play on the
mhm,
side. And if you have a game like especially an MMO, have other
Yeah.
things that you want to go out like achievement farming or just dungeon
yeah,
farming or transmog or whatever the case may be to go out and
yeah,
do that because you don't want to go like okay, you play the game 30 minutes and you're done, you're like what do I do
Yeah.
now? You know?
That
yeah. You
honestly,
don't know how
that's
long your main game is gonna be have left. If you're
Yep.
mainly
yeah.
playing a main game like Dying Light, I don't know how much longer I have left in it. I've been told I have like one more main quest,
Yeah, you're
story
almost done,
quest
dude.
for it left. So I have DLC I can do,
Yep.
or I can do a different game if I wanted to.
That's what
If
I'm
I don't want to,
scared about with playing WoW today. So like with Octopath, I'm doing 2 chapters a stream.
Yes.
That honestly ends up being almost right at 4 hours, like
Okay.
every single time without fail. Okay, twice without fail,
yeah,
because I've only done it twice. But like there's other stuff that I can do kind of in between to extend it out a little bit. But
Yep.
two
Yeah.
chapters is like perfect, and I know exactly how many more chapters I have. So I know there are 10 more chapters. I have 5 more weeks of this shit.
mhm.
So like
And
I'm
so you
good.
have stuff. You have stuff good for your story day. But
That's
do you have
yeah,
stuff
Saturday.
to do for your multiplayer game?
And
Every day.
that's what I don't have much planned. So like the plan is I'm if my pals are not also on, we're just gonna do battlegrounds, which we can do that for multiple hours without even noticing the time go by.
Yeah.
If we don't do that, I'm gonna finish the quests for whatchamacallit, the pre-patch stuff or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And then the only other thing I can think of is I'm just gonna go do old dungeons for transmogs. Which
That's what I've been doing.
like that's a valid thing.
It is.
Like, it's
I mean,
still
if you want to look
interesting.
cool.
Yeah. So it still has me a little bit worried.
I
'Cause
think
my
you'll be
main
fine.
plan is to play with friends, but I might not be playing with friends at all. And so
Well,
if I'm just playing
that's
WoW,
the
it might be boring.
that's the thing is that you gotta accept that you may be by yourself.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You know, since T left WoW, I've been playing by myself for a
2 years.
now,
Yeah,
and
2 years.
yeah, so I've been like having to find things to do or co-streaming him sometimes, even though he's playing Warframe, but
Yeah.
he's still there at least, you know, even though he's not in the game, he's still right next to me playing something, and we could talk about stuff, right? As if he was in the game with me, you know.
Yeah.
So you have to be able to be okay playing with yourself.
A lot of times.
A lot of times, especially on the multiplayer games. Like I said, WoW is a multiplayer game, but I'm playing by myself because he's not playing. Same thing with him with Warframe because I'm not playing. So he plays by himself. I play by myself. But if we want to, we can come together and then
Because we
do
know what's
stuff like
going on.
that.
That's the thing about it
Yeah.
all. We know what's going on in each other game. Like right
We can
now,
have conversations.
yeah, we can
about
still have
shit.
meaningful conversation of what's going on. There's a lot of times I'll say, "Hey, what's going on with this?" or "What's going on with this?" and "How is your this character? And how's this character?" And he can give me a lot of insightful, conversation of what's going on with it because he's been playing the game, and I still, even though I don't play the game, I still love Warcraft, World of Warcraft. But I just can't play it anymore. But I still
Yeah.
like to hear a lot of stuff that's going on
It's
with the
still
game and stuff like
interesting to
that.
find out,
Exactly.
whatever is going on.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
I mean, you can play vicariously through somebody
There you
else
go.
by just
Right.
talking to them.
There you go.
exactly. And one of the other things, like, because now that I've started streaming, like, I feel kind of a closer bond, like, with you guys who are streaming, with, like, Flame and Draco. But I also have a schedule where I stream when you guys aren't streaming.
Yeah.
So
true.
that also kind of makes it a little bit more difficult. Like, if I want to play Warframe,
Hmm.
I'm most likely not playing with you guys.
Yeah.
I'm just going to be alone.
Yeah.
So even though that would fall
But I
in
mean-
my, like, multiplayer game day, I'd pretty much just playing it alone.
Yeah, I mean, like, and that was the thing with me and T, the second try for me on getting affiliate, because I was trying to find my time because he found his time, which was 8 o'clock,
Yeah.
and I was trying to find a time for me when he got me back into trying to be an affiliate type setup, and I started at 7, which is an hour before he gets on, and then after that, after a couple weeks of that, he said, looking at your stuff,
Analytics.
because he was looking at my analytics with me and stuff. I was like, I seem to start getting people like 8:30, 9 o'clock, around almost your time. It's like, I don't wanna, because I wanted to space it out with me and him, but
Yeah.
sometimes stuff just doesn't work out that way. So I had to pick the same time he does and just deal with it. And I mean, this is when he was only at Thursday,
Thursday,
through
Fridays.
Sunday.
Yeah, Thursday, Friday, Saturday.
Thursday through Sunday stuff, uh, streaming before he came back to all week stuff. So you'll find your happy medium there, and then if it still happens to be where you're playing and you're not, you're streaming and we're not, it's fine. We can still come in and jump in and play with you. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And opposite happens, like when T's streaming Warframe and you're not. It doesn't matter. Like if it's on a Saturday and Sunday, if you want to throw on a stream early to play with him and stream, you can do that if you want. It's up to you. It's up to you how you want to do your streaming thing. If you want to stick to your schedule and not stream when he's playing and then just play with him, that's up to you too. Because at that point in time, now you have to worry about chat, making sure everything is up and running, everything is going off right and stuff like that. If you just want to have a chill day and not stream and it's during his time, that's up to you.
Well, I like the times that I've like picked so far work really well for me, just like in regular life. So far, it's working fairly well for like it's working fairly well for viewers, but it's because it's a time that all of my friends can actually like stop by and watch. It's like Flame has been in my chat every time. He'll bow out like after the first 2 hours. My buddy Kevin will be in there for pretty much the entire time, except for maybe like the last hour. My buddy Austin will be in there, and they're all using chat and whatnot, trying to help me out. So like it's a good time for them to be able to watch me. And I think, excuse me, I think that it's going to be a good time for my multiplayer days. Because it's about the same time that me and my buddy Kevin would always get up to watch like the League of Legends games. It's like he will have it on in the background, but he'll be able to play with me most likely. And then like some of the other pals, like it's essentially right in the middle of the day, which is normally pretty good on weekends. As far as like with you guys though, like you guys are typically like off doing some other stuff, which it's like to a certain part of it's nice because as long as I'm not super tired, which I have been, streaming is tiring. If you didn't know that, hey, I've got a real job, real job, like a real life, normal-ish job, and it's very tiring. Streaming is also like just as tiring.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And maybe it's just because I'm not quite as used to it or whatever, but like it's tiring. So like I was literally on the couch last night after my stream. I ate dinner. I was watching some Netflix. Flame had hit me up on Discord and said that he'd love if I dropped by so he could talk about Fire Emblem. So I pulled the stream up. I got to a point where Netflix was asking if I was still watching. And I was just stuck on my couch in Flame's chat. and I just like I couldn't get up. I was
Mhm.
tired, and
Mhm.
like it's one of those things where there's another night last weekend where the same type of thing was happening. I was in your chat, T, and I let them goad me into getting onto
Yeah.
Warframe.
Yeah.
And it was one of those things where I needed to use that as an excuse to get up and get on. But what I really like about my schedule is that as long as I'm not tired, I can be in y'all's multiplayer stream days,
Mhm.
which I really like. Like, number one, it helps me out. I like to think that it might help you guys out a little bit at least. Um, like, it helps me out because we all kind of get to do like this essentially networking type thing. Um, it's like I like the schedule,
It's
but
it's takes
I
some
gotta
getting used
feel
to,
how it is.
but this is brings us into the last topic, and then this also answers the question in the chat as well. Is there a game of choice? So Twitch has. So let me take a step back. About a year ago, Twitch's analytics did not exist. It was horrible. It was absolutely trash. Um, you had to go to like third-party systems like Muxy or Streamlabs, which at the time it was Tips. What was it called? Twitch. Before Streamlabs was called. It was called something else. It was called like Twitch something. I don't remember what it was. Um,
Okay.
they changed their name. They got bought out or changed their name or whatever. But anyways, so a lot of people ask, is there a game of choice? What's the best time for me to stream? What kind of stream? Who people actually take a look at it? And honestly, the best thing to do is find out is to take a look at your analytics. So Twitch has amazing
But
analytics on there.
first, but first, but first, stream.
Yes, first
Yeah,
stream
I was about
because
to.
you got
I probably
because
have
you
like
get there's no data. There's no
very
data if you
There's no
useless.
data until you stream.
Yeah, I have
yes.
You gotta
useless
stream first.
analytics right now because I've only streamed
Well, so
twice.
so I was going to use you, Hero, if you didn't mind. I was going to use you and on this um on this demonstration, I was
Sure.
going to share the analytics I was going to bring in, which was going to be another tool, another third-party tool, which is called Solely Gnome. And give it a second. So Solely Gnome is the analytics tool system that I used to use alongside of tip streams and stuff like that for a while. But Solely Gnome does an amazing breakdown of a lot of stuff, and it even gives you some comparisons and a lot of extra stuff on there as well, like milestones. Great articles on what is normal growth to 24 hours. Is it worth to do a 24-hour stream? A breakdown of what you're looking at analytics as a number-based stuff. A lot of great information there. But the big thing I wanted to break down to is game of choice. Where should I be aiming for? Who should because as a brand new streamer, it's so difficult to say, okay, well, I need a goal to set myself up to because now I'm streaming for like a week or so, or maybe a month or so. Where should
Yeah.
I go? Who should I shoot for? Should I shoot for Ninja, which has over 4 million followers or whatever, or should I shoot for someone who just started? Like, who should I shoot to aim for? And this
Yeah.
right here is by far one of the best sites to break it down to. So we're going to take a look at your stuff real quick, Hero.
Sure.
If I can.
I'm a newbie. This is my hazing.
All right.
Throw my analytics up there.
So your analytics is good as far as a brand new streamer who just started out as their second or third stream.
Is there any way that you can make that a little bit bigger? Because it's like itty bitty on this.
Is it really?
Yeah. I don't know if you can like, because like it's displaying your whole Discord rather than just what your screen is.
Oh, that's right. Ha.
Yeah, you might have to turn off
Or
our
just-
video to
just,
share your
uh,
screen. Share your screen.
Oh, that's right. I can change my
Yeah.
screen though.
You're the one that
There
actually.
you go.
There
I
you
gotta,
There you
I gotta change
go.
my screen real quick. Let's see.
There you go. I believed in you.
Stop, and we'll do not that one.
You want to do? There you go.
Share, and then we're gonna do this. Better?
As soon as it
So
comes
that's
up.
sharing it with us, but yeah, there we go.
All
There
right.
you go.
So here's your analytics, Hero. for the last 7 days. It breaks it down pretty well. So as a far as a brand new streamer, you can tell you're a brand new streamer. You got 10 followers. You got 3 new followers that just came in, which are
Thank
typically
you. Shout
typically
out.
as it is your friends who just say, "Hey, I'm starting a
Yeah.
stream. Give me a follow." You gain those followers that way.
Yeah.
And
So
your
what you're
average,
saying is I have 10 friends.
yeah, well, 10 friends who committed to watching you. And you got 3 average viewers, which is really good. Most of those people is usually one of yourself. One is usually yourself watching yourself, and then the other two is usually someone else, one of your friends or someone coming in to stay in and keep the chat going. So it's
Yeah.
great. But you're like, okay, so cool. That's all great and dandy. You see what your games are break down to. Uh, Games breaks down of what games you played, what's your most games to break down. Um, and then your game picker. What a lot of people ask, okay, what game should I play? Is the game I'm playing going to be meaningful, and is am I going to be able to get someone to come and take a look at your stuff?
Yeah.
Octopath Traveler right now is one of the most viewed games, and a lot of your similarities out there is kind of in your red and your green area. Now, equivalent to your smaller streamers, you're pretty good. You want to be in the green for a lot of times because a lot of times your smaller viewers are going to be coming in there to take a look or to play the game because they're just playing the game just to chill, do what exactly what you're doing. But
Mhm.
on the top of it all, you want it to be low because you don't want a ton of smaller viewers, a ton of smaller channels, and then a buttload of freaking big channels on there because then you're
Yeah.
going to be like, okay, how far on the total pole do I have to scroll to get to see your channel? That's the piece of it all. But the thing I really want to compare it to, a lot of people ask, okay, what should I be going for as far as goals? Click on the compare. The compare does a great job where it does is it will pull up one person's channel and it'll pull up a bigger channel, which is someone you probably should aim for as kind of compared to your genre, and another person who's kind of similar to where you are or where someone you could probably quickly try to gain some momentum or shoot for. Um,
Mhm.
this is a great tool. So right now you see your tangent person, how long people
Yeah,
follow
man, I
them in a
follow
day,
Tangent.
and this is the person who you could pretty much shoot for as a person who you should go for. But it all depends on what numbers matter to you. Do you want to get those followers? Do you want to get those viewers? Do you want to get those continued average viewerships per day? That's all breaks down to your analytics and what you should shoot for. Is the day that you're picking for the greatest day that you should be playing for? So,
Yeah.
Rob, you don't mind? I want to go ahead and pick you on you real quick.
That's fine. I'm already looking at my stuff too.
So you kicked ass this last day, and you streamed for 7 freaking hours playing Dying Light. But you didn't
It
play.
was an accident.
But you didn't play just for Dying Light. You also played a little bit of World of Warcraft. Am I correct to say that?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, you're right.
So you switched up, and you did
Hmm.
a really good job in doing that. Your viewership is going up. It's great because you're not staying static as you could tell the days that you're not streaming or whatever. Those are the days that you're not getting those viewerships, and the days that you're streaming longer or the days that you're playing a game that's really good. You're doing a great job of getting your viewers those viewers up. And also break down of the last 7 days. What are people coming in to watch the most of? As you see, a lot of your people are coming in to take a look at Dying Light. Now, it's difficult. It's difficult to tell what game should you play because it all goes off of what what day is people what people are what day am I streaming and is my time slot the best for me. It's all playing on, okay, hey, I'm going to start 8 o'clock this month, and then we're going to bump it up to 7 o'clock this month, and see if I'm going to gain traction or if I'm going to lose traction. Am I going to get people coming in that extra hour early, or are people going to say no? We're going to stick with the 8 o'clock. It's
Well,
all playing around.
it's also risk, right? Because you
It
kind of
is
have
very
to test
risk.
it.
It
You
is.
have to do it, get some analytics on it, and then see if it's worth.
So we're going to do a whole
Yeah, but
year.
you still got to do it. You still got to do it to see if it's going to get any kind of thing going.
Yeah.
I
You
I
gotta try.
agree. I agree.
I like that compare thing though, because the compare does kind of it helps give you some theoretical data of maybe if I do this when a lot of people are looking at this game
Yep.
at this time, maybe I'll get some better viewers. But then you have to check and see if it actually works for your channel.
Mhm.
So this is also great as a tool because for me specifically, and I'll go to me, it gears where I was playing a game and where I will be where I am now in my current state of playing a new game. And it's great to see the activity and see what's going on with that. So the analytics, I'm doing 90 days for right now to see how often how many hours people actually take a look at your channel, and it's great. Your numbers are great as a growing starting off streamer. Now the sad thing about it is, for me and Rob's case, we've been doing this for 3 to 4 years. So
Yeah.
we've been kind of doing this off and on for 2 or 3 years. But at the same sense, we're doing pretty freaking good at being our state. You know, a lot of people who come in and take a look at channels that have been going on for a long time, a lot of those people either stopped or they don't have the average numbers that we have. So it's a give and take, and it's always it's always a risk, it's always a reward, it's always a gamble, it's always something that you have to improve on and see what's going to work and what's going to work. It's always an experiment. So,
Mhm.
but greatest thing is it's projecting. You know, taking a look at your long term, where you at currently and where you potentially going to be at if you continue down this path. And that's the thing I like to take a look at myself because I'm like, okay, if I continue with this strain, if I continue with this kind of ingredient or recipe, am I going to be doing well in the next couple of months? So, but for me, it's kind of difficult because my times have changed, my games have dramatically changed, and you can tell the amount of people who come in and the amount of how many viewers I get dropped. Like I'm somewhat losing viewers now. I'm at that point where I'm actually losing viewers because a lot of people who came in, let's go ahead and do 30 days worth, or even better yet, let's do 90 days worth. My most viewed game was Guild Wars 2. People started taking a look at, were watching me specifically for Guild Wars 2. But now I'm switching over. I'm trying to switch over to for Warframe. I'm starting to get that momentum that I want to get for it.
Mhm.
So it's difficult because at the same time I've also changed time slots. I switched my time from coming in at 7 o'clock to switch it up to or to switch it up from 8 o'clock to switch it up to 9 o'clock because for my specific time slot I was looking at my analytics, people weren't coming in until 9 o'clock or until 8:55 or 8:45, and I was like, okay, so for the first hour, I was literally streaming by myself for myself, whatever the case may be, and then people were coming in and staying in for the last hour or so, and it was pushing me wanting to stream for a little bit longer, which I couldn't. So for
Mhm.
me, it's easier just for me to just push everything back, and it also ties into family stuff and IRL stuff as well. So.
Yeah.
But as a brand new person, as a person who's continually doing and continually streaming and where to get analytics from, Sully Gnome is a great place. Twitch is a great place. Monksy is a great place if you're using their stuff for tips and stuff like that. And also Streamlabs is a great place to get it. But anywhere you can get the analytics, do your comparison, break them down, but don't have this as your sole thing to do for streaming. It's a great baseline. It's a great start chart in my perspective of taking a look and saying, hey, where should I be going for? Where am I going? Where am I improving? And where am I heading in the next couple of months? So,
Mhm.
but yeah, there is no game of choice. Sadly, there is another tool Um,
it is too much fluctuation with saying, "Hey, this is the main game that you should play,"
I mean,
to say this is a good starter game because there's no good starter game. It's up to what you want to play.
yeah,
You
I mean,
know,
there's so many factors for it too. Like, if you're asking for like a game of choice, just like in general, it would be whatever is generating the most hype right now. Like, what's a recent release that has a lot of people jumping in it, and
it doesn't have to be a recent.
it's also probably only going to last like a week, if
True,
that
true.
long. There's
Or, like,
other things to consider, like other communities. Like,
Yeah.
is there room for WoW community stuff? Destiny's getting some new updates, so maybe jump into some of the Destiny community. Yeah, it's the way that I'm taking it is right now because I have literally just started, and this is why I'm saying like my stream currently is not really for the viewers because I don't have any. My stream right now is for me so that I can find what I enjoy. Because if I enjoy something, if I have fun with something, my hope is that other people will enjoy watching that content. So that's how I'm starting it off, and that's how I'm picking my game. Is right now I freaking love Octopath, so I'm gonna do story stuff. But WoW is also fun. I love playing WoW and others in like Warframe with pals. So like I'm jumping into those games too. Yeah, it's just there's so many factors, community, releases, updates, but I mean, I still kind of sit by, and again, maybe it's just because I'm new. Whatever you have fun with.
I can agree with that to a certain extent. And I think Harap was on the same page, so I'm going to let Harap chime in because I think we're kind of on the same page on this one. Harap?
What do you mean you're on the same page, but you?
I agree
I'm
but
waiting for you
disagree.
to say. All right.
So,
What of it do you disagree on, and what you do agree on?
new releases are great to start off with, especially because it's a brand
If
new
you're a new
release.
release person, if you're trying to ride the hype train, yeah, to a certain extent, yeah, but you're gonna run out of money before anything. I mean, if you're gonna do a new release, you're gonna have to play a game
Okay, that's true.
eventually, you know, and stick with it until something else catches your eye. So I would say new release is gonna be straining if unless you have a lot of money already set for that. The next thing I would say is right now the current hype because of certain big streamers is Fortnite, and that's not a new release. That's been out for a while, you know.
It's a new CS:GO
So
of its age, honestly.
I mean, not all new releases get a big following. You know, it depends on who's streaming. Like if it's a big streamer making this thing big, or Twitch is pushing that, then it'll depend on the ebb and flow on Twitch. Though I would not rely on that because at any point that star can fall and that person can go back to normal. Nobody talk about that person or game for a long time before it comes back. Um, WoW has always been there. You can play WoW. I mean, that's your game that you like to play. Play WoW. I mean, it has a pretty strong community in itself. It has some. It does have its bad things in it, but I mean, you like playing WoW. Play WoW. Play what you like to play, and people eventually will see you and eventually come in and talk to you if you're entertaining enough, or they could just be lurking and not be signed in to Twitch. So I mean, at this point in time, it's just you, and eventually you'll start get people, like-minded individuals in your channel to start talking to you. So it'll be just basically be patient because I've been telling myself this forever. Is to be patient. You got to be patient. You just got to be
Oh
patient and keep
man.
doing your thing and just keep being you. Don't change. Don't change yourself to try to get a bump. because at that point in time, if you do that, people are going to expect that. And if you're not doing it all the time, you're going to start losing people, and that's going to start bothering you. So unless you are starting with a persona or a gag, don't do it early, I guess. Or you can do it early, see if it works if you want to do a persona type thing. And if you start seeing people liking it and you can handle doing it for 3 to 4 or 6 hours a stream, by all means. But I wouldn't recommend it because you'll tire yourself out and burn yourself out real quick. That's a fast way to do it.
That, and honestly, that's kind of why I'm starting off doing my stream the way that I'm doing it, just and, and kind of saying that like it's not about the viewers. Um, Again, it's because I don't have any viewers, but also just because I don't want to have to care about the viewers. Like I'm doing this for a couple little reasons for myself, um, to help me get more out of like my gaming time, to help me get stuff out of this time that I am doing streaming. And if it ends up being something that people really enjoy and like, if I end up getting a bit of a community going on, then absolutely, like I'm gonna try and like, because that's something that I would love to have. I would love to have a bit of a community built up and being able to do stuff with that community. So if that happens, great. I would consider that making it, right? Like I'm not on Twitch to try to make it. I've got a real, I've got a job already. Like I don't need to do this, but it's something that I'm very interested in. Honestly, very excited about. Like it's fun. It's really cool.
Yeah.
And
I mean, a lot of people started off as a hobby.
Something comes out of it, great. But it's not something that I'm necessarily looking for.
Yeah. Don't look for Twitch to be a full-time job. Do not do that. You'll kill yourself trying to do that. Do it as a hobby right now. See if you like it. For new people out there, stream. See if you like it. Do it for a while. Set a time limit. Like set a goal. All right. I'm doing it for this amount of time. We'll see how I like it. If I like it, we'll keep going after this set of time. Don't worry about viewers. Don't look at that. That'll kill your motivation. Don't look at it.
It'll kind of it'll sour the experience.
Right. Don't even look at your if you can once you start your stream, hide your viewer count. Hide that and minimize it if you have it on a screen. Don't even look at it and pop out chat and then just play the game. And if somebody happens to do it, comes in and say something, you'll respond then. But play the game that you want to play. Play it for you. Don't even look at the count. Don't do that because that is a morale killer, and you'll start being paranoid and start wanting this like, what am I doing wrong type thing. Just play the game and be you. Eventually, people will start seeing you for who you are, and if they're gonna like you, they'll start talking to you, or they can lurk and eventually start talking to you. Just don't even look at that count because that counter, it can certainly kill a lot of new people from continuing to stream.
Yep.
Because they look at that count and start getting worried about it. Because they want to talk to people.
I see my count at 2, and I am thrilled. I'm loving that there's anybody else in my chat, and even if it's like a bot account or whatever, I don't care. Like, I got 2. I got that number 2.
Hey,
the question,
taking a step. You taking a step to stream is a major step.
Yeah, because at 2 is going to be weary after about a month or so looking at that saying, okay, I'm seeing the same 2. I want a different number and I want to go up. And that's the reason why a lot of people tell you to hide your stuff because it's not because you don't want to know whose channel or whatever or who's not watching you. You don't want to know who is watching, period. Because if you watch that number is static because numbers don't change very often, especially when you start off. If you start seeing that, you start getting fatigued, and then it just wears on you, and that's the reason why a lot of people tell you not to do that.
But that's
Yeah,
also
because you're
why
gonna start
I'm
paying attention more to that than playing the game. You're gonna start looking at that number and then not playing the game, and then you're whatever you have in there lurking is gonna go away because now you're paying attention to that and not playing the game like you were before they got in there.
one and that's why I'm coming at streaming with kind of this more of like a project for myself. Like I'm calling it like purposeful gaming. I am streaming during these times. Like I hope that I'm entertaining. I hope people, stop by and are entertained. But ultimately what I want to do is I want to beat Octopath Traveler. And this is going to make me beat it. Like it's giving me like, and yes, it's just kind of like a random, like doesn't really mean anything, but it's a tiny bit of a thing that I can kind of grasp onto to say, I've started this. I now have to beat it on stream. It gives me a 4-hour window to dedicate just to playing that game, and that's more what I'm focusing on. Is am I beating this game? If I end up beating Octopath Traveler, then streaming is a success for me.
It's a great goal, and I like that you're making that statement before you start streaming, because it makes it easier for you to stick with that no matter what as you continue going through the stream. Um, and because Octopath Traveler is well over 100 something hours, you have some longevity
Vastly
there.
approaching it.
You have some longevity there, um, so you don't have to make a decision on what you're going to play next and what you should set your
Yeah,
goals for next just yet, because you still have, for the way
5
you're
weeks.
streaming, yeah, you still have about 5 weeks to continue doing this. So it's
Yeah,
great. Um, my closing statement is streaming is and will be is his own job in itself. It's very tiring. I know everyone here has agreed with that. A lot of people are like, well, you're just playing video games and you're just doing that. How is that tiring? It is a completely different kind of mentality, because a lot of people believe that, oh, I can hop on and play video games and I can just have fun and people can come in here and watch me and I can blow up. It's completely different. It's
nope.
very completely different. I've heard that statement several times thrown out there from several of my friends, including some of my coworkers, that say that.
Dude, it's one of those things that pops up in big stream channels all the time.
Uh huh. You can't. It is a job in itself, and to continue doing that consistently for months, even years, is is an accomplishment in itself. Um, but everyone wants to have change. Everyone wants to see growth, and that's the reason why analytics are key. Taking a look at that, setting your recipe, whether it's what time slot do, what games should I play, how should I conduct my stream, what day should I stream. Those are the things that matter the most, and those are the things that help you grow, and help you make those next goals for yourself. So, I have nothing else.
I've got one thing.
Go ahead.
I watched and I finished Death Note.
Congratulations. Now you have
It's a big check mark off my list, though.
now you
Like
have
for
about now you have about 20 more animes to catch up on.
yeah,
Congratulations.
it's a big check mark on a big list.
Yes,
But I'm glad to say that I have finished it, and it is very good.
it was good.
I thought it went downhill after L.
Yeah, that's
I
that's
honestly I didn't really like it after that. I just
that's why
wanted
a
it to
lot
be over.
that's why a lot of people said L was the bread and butter to that anime.
Yep. But it's still great. I liked it.
I mean, mm, really? Was it really that bad after L died?
It
I
was
mean,
bad.
No, it wasn't that bad.
It was
Like,
bad though.
I still enjoyed it, but a certain part of me did want it to just be done. And I mean, honestly, it did kind of wrap up fast after. Like there's like it was like episode 26 or 27 or something like that. Like when he went away, and there's only 30. Was there 34? I can't remember now. All of a sudden. Oh, hey, I need to update my anime list on that actually.
Hey, update anime list.
Hey, I gotta do something.
I swear you need a whiteboard and just put a list. Check.
I know.
Check.
Well, I mean,
Or
that's
you
what
ready
my anime list.
No, have a list to do that to get to anime database. You know.
Oh, gotcha. Oh, apparently I didn't even add it to my anime.
Wow, you're a terrible person.
Let's do that.
You're a terrible person.
I think I might stick with the whole death thing and go watch Death Parade.
Death who?
Death Parade.
Death Parade. Have I seen that?
Add to list.
Death Parade. Death Parade.
Oh
Why
well.
is it taking forever to add to my list? Okay, there's 37 episodes. So if it's around that 24, 27-ish episode where there's a change, then there's less than half. Way less than half. I guess it's like a quarter. A quarter of this is without L. And for that quarter, I just kind of wanted it to wrap up. But it's still good.
I mean, but at the beginning, you didn't have L up until he starts like making a name for himself, and then
It was
after
only like
that,
two,
you have
but that was
L.
only 2
Yeah,
episodes.
it's like two or three.
Yeah,
maybe.
it was that. Because that's more introducing of Light as
Yeah.
doing what he's doing. Because he's the
Like,
main
oh,
character.
okay.
He's the main character,
Yeah.
anyways.
All right. So, what did you think of the girl? You think the chick was awesomely crazy? Nice?
Eh.
What? She's bae. What are you talking about?
She's
She'll do
not bae.
anything for. She'll do anything for Light. What do you mean,
Meh.
bro?
That honestly, that's what made her less interesting.
Appealing. Yep. She's
Really?
too
Because you
much.
said she'd do anything for Light?
Yeah.
She had no restrictions.
Now at the end, her end where she broke out and says, "No, this is what I want," and whatever her ending was great. I like how she ended. But overall,
Okay, I give you
meh.
that. No. Okay. How'd you like how Light finished?
It sucked, dude.
I know, right?
Like that
I
really
didn't like
sucked.
how they ended it. I did not like how they ended it for Light. I think it could have been better for him. They could have done better there, but I guess they ran out of stuff to put there or ideas
I mean,
to end him.
Yeah, like you kind of had to be there, but a part of me wished that it was a little bit more accepting.
Yeah.
Rather
Yeah.
than like freaking the fuck out. Like
pretty much, yeah. I mean, you knew it was going to happen, but you would think he would be better than acting that way, in my opinion.
Same. Yeah, I didn't like it. I didn't love it. I'll say.
Me either. I think it could have been done better. So you're thinking about going to Death Parade next?
Yes.
Okay, I've not heard or seen this before, so that might be a thing I see.
I'll tell you the reason why I want to go to that next is because I freaking love the intro.
Oh, the intro?
I've heard it's really good, but I love the intro so much.
The music or this the intro cinematic?
I'm both, honestly.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But yeah, that's the reason that I'm gonna start it.
So T, how you doing? You
Doing good.
All right, buddy?
I'm doing good.
So I think I talked to you about this a little bit. So branding. When is it good to start redoing your branding?
Or doing branding at all.
You don't count. You just started.
I created something in Paint.
So branding.
Should you worry about it at the very beginning, or wait until you accomplish something?
No.
To start worrying about branding.
Branding begins at the beginning. So branding is not just, and here's my stance on branding. So branding isn't just getting a logo and your emotes and all that stuff. Those are the physical ingredients for branding. Branding starts from what you are producing in the long run. So that is your your streaming, that is your entertainment, that is your if you're doing YouTube, that's your YouTube as well. That is
Yeah.
also if you have a website, that's your website as well. If you have anything that you're producing yourself, that is where the brand starts. That is the image, that is what you are producing from it, and when you're putting your stamp on it. Um, the logo,
So
avatar, all that is just I guess you want to say, a stamp to show proof of ownership and show, hey, get this ingrained in your brain. Whenever you see this logo on you, you know it's me. That kind of thing.
the link, the link between the two, between you doing your thing and then your
That starts the
actual
beginning.
avatar or whatever stuff
That
like that.
starts
That's
that
the link.
starts that starts at the very beginning. Now, branding never
Okay.
stops. So for me
Right.
specifically, when I first started streaming, I had a generic avatar, whatever the case may be, and
Yeah.
I streamed for about a year like that. And I didn't go out
Okay.
and change my logo and everything for until about a year afterwards, when I came back to streaming
Right.
and started dedicated doing it.
Right.
My
Yeah.
brand already existed when I started streaming. Um, Currently right now,
I would say content, not brand,
but
for
that all
this.
ties into it. That all ties into it. Your brand, when you think of brand, your brand is like your brand name cereal or whatever the case may be. Um, Frosted
But I
Flakes,
mean, some.
Frosted Flakes is just the content that you're bringing out there, but your brand is cereal. You're continually doing that, so your brand is also is everything that you're just standing out there, that you are, it is you, your voice, your content, all that stuff out there is tied to the brand, but who you are as a person is a brand, is the brand. Your label and your logo and all that stuff is to put a stamp to show a, yes, this is who I am, but who you are is the brand. So branding isn't just the logo and everything like that.
I
That can come
was.
at any point in the stage of your stuff out there.
It's okay because I feel that if you go with the cereal kind of analogy that you were going with, is that Frosted Flakes, there's a different type of Frosted Flakes, but it's not called Frosted Flakes. It's called something different. The only thing that makes it different is the packaging, which is the branding of the of the cereal.
Yep,
Your content is the cereal itself. The
correct.
branding, which is the box, which is the logo,
Yeah.
what makes it different
Okay.
is what makes it
So
different.
my question to you is, if I take the cereal out of the package and put it in another
Yeah.
bag and I just write
Yeah.
Frosted Flakes on there, is it still
Right.
Frosted Flakes?
Yes.
Okay. So the embodiment of that cereal, the name, which is Frosted Flakes, or in your case
Right.
is Harop, that is the brand. The brand is Harop. The logo and everything like that is stamping, saying
But that
this
is
is what
what
you
makes it
remember.
different.
No, it doesn't
But
make a
that makes it
difference.
different.
If I
If
pour
I
you,
put Frosted Flakes, if I got two bags of Frosted Flakes, and then a name brand off-brand Frosted Flakes,
correct.
and I pour those there,
Yes.
and I take the boxes away, are you gonna
Yes.
know which one is different?
If I look at it and if I
If I
taste it,
put if I turn you around and I pour two bowls of Frosted
yes.
Flakes out there,
Yes.
are you gonna know which one after tasting it?
I want to say they're all Frosted Flakes because that is the brand.
Exactly.
Exactly.
Exactly. No, that's the content.
No, no, no,
The
no, no.
content is the
So
Frosted Flakes.
so
The
I think
brand is the box that tells you it's different.
so I I can see where both of you coming from. I think I'm a little bit more on Frog's side on this one though, because like you said, like prop is prop, right? Um, but that in and of itself is a label, so that's already a brand. You've already come up with a name for yourself, which is a brand. That what you do is your content, um, and you can add extra stuff to your brand. Like I already have a brand. I'm Hero, right? So that's my brand. I already have a brand. Um, I I can do a lot more with it, and I can add a bunch of other like layers to it, like having a logo, having a cover page, right? Like adding all these types of things, like intros, whatnot. But what I think where you're right, Prop, is like what you do is the content. Now, to a certain extent, your content has to match what it has to kind of in a way match your brand, like because it's yours, right? It is your content, um, and that's all built into your brand. Um, but at the same time, like yeah, I see what you're talking more of like the actual
Logo and all that stuff for it.
yeah
Which to
and
me,
name and everything.
okay. So I will, since Hero put it that way, I will agree. And to add to that, the definition of brand. A brand is a name, term, design, symbol, or any other features that identifies one seller good or service as dis- as distinguished from others and other sellers. So with that put into point, Harap, you win this fight. But let me add. But let me answer your
Not
question.
a
It's
fight.
not a
It's
fight.
just a
It's a
conversation.
conversation. It's debate. So
Okay.
to add to that, when would you start, or when should you rebrand? I would say when, as soon as you decide to, one, you feel as if the brand does not reflect yourself. As soon as you see that, okay, my content and what I'm trying to do, it
Mhm.
doesn't it doesn't sell me, or it doesn't show what I'm trying to push out to it. It doesn't reflect me. And that's
Mhm.
when I would start rebranding. It could come after you become make it big. It can become as soon as you decide to switch your focus on what you want to do, or your attitude, or how you want to do anything about it. To me, uh, I felt as if I was kind of away from that brand for about a year. My brand is kind of stale. It doesn't fit me anymore. Um, I need to refresh it.
I agree with that. You kind of fall into your brand, or like that
Yes.
you discover what your brand is.
Yep.
I can see that a little bit.
And it's not
That
something that
like
you should take lightly. You shouldn't just throw
when
money at it.
you start off pretty raw,
Hmm.
um, and like you're just a product, you're just a service, you're just a good, um, and you have to kind of discover yourself.
So,
And stuff can happen to make that happen. Like you be at the right place at the right time type of
Yeah,
thing where you just discover yourself
I
type
mean,
thing.
look at Ninja.
And
Like,
stuff can happen all of a sudden. Like for Ninja, I agree. All of a
he used
sudden
to
he
be a Halo
became
guy.
all of a sudden, and then
Now he's
Fortnite came
Fortnite.
out, and then all of a sudden blew up, and now
Mhm.
he's making his own tournament, sponsoring it himself, paying for it himself, doing all kinds of stuff.
I mean, his brand definitely changed. Like
Just grew
he
up. Yeah.
he was Halo. He was like other like FPS games, and now he's Fortnite. So it's just like hey,
Fortnite, yeah.
his branding changed.
It's gonna suck if he changes to a different game. I'm just saying. If he ever tries to do any kind of different game other than Fortnite, I would hate to see his chat. That is a mm, being that kind of
so
place or
to answer your
plateau.
yeah, so to answer your question, like I said, it all depends on when and where you are in your product when you want to rebrand, or when you should start branding.
Yeah.
So if say you are a space themed brand,
Yeah.
but you don't play anything space typage, would you consider rebranding to something that's fitting to your play style that you're currently playing? Let's say you start off with space, but you don't play anything space. You play a lot of dead survival type games.
Yeah.
Would you rebrand to fit that, or would you find something that's outside of that because you're trying to be a variety type streamer? Are you would you go away from
So
that, or
I have opinions on that.
space is so broad that it can't fit. So the way I see it, here's my interpretation of it. If you sell the brand to me as in, okay,
you know,
I am a space type of person, but I'm playing variety types of games, the way I would
yeah,
twist it is the games are the planet, and I'm traveling to each planet to actually and discover different types of uh, communities and whatever the case may be, and that is why I am a space, because my brand is so vast, that I can't
Yeah.
narrow down to one specific type, so I am a
Yeah.
space kind of theme. You can sell it. It all depends on how you sell the theme as well.
I mean,
That's what I'm looking for.
I feel like
if
you're.
you can think. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say your brand is really about you.
Yep.
There's a streamer that I love watching. Leah Loves Chief.
Yep.
She's not Leah Loves Chief anymore.
Yeah, she
That was
changed her
back
name.
when she was
Halo.
like a big Halo person.
Yep.
But she hadn't played Halo I don't think I've ever seen her play Halo. And
Yep.
I've been watching her for years. She rebranded to Leviathan, which I think is really, really cool. It really fits. Like she's always had like this like it's Sunshine Squad and like the Squid Squad and all this type of stuff. But she doesn't play Leviathan games. She doesn't play like deep sea games. She played Subnautica. I guess that fits.
Well, that's basically my point. Is that should your brand coincide with the type of games
No.
that you play?
No.
I think
It's
can.
basically
can.
on the person.
It
It
should
can, but it
reflect the
shouldn't be
person.
dominated though.
Let me
Yeah,
put it
that'd
this
be
way.
dominated.
Let me put it this way. If your name says Halo winner and you're playing Fortnite, then yes, you need to rebrand because apparently you're
Yeah.
not doing it. If you're going to be that specific in your name, yes, you need a brand. But
But
if your name is
that goes back to don't brand based off of what you play.
exactly.
and a lot of people fall into this because of like old gamer tags and whatnot.
Yep.
Right.
Really, it's
Right.
easy to fall into that. I'm pretty sure that's how Leah fell into that.
It's
like-
basically my point is that don't name or rebrand yourself based on the game
Yeah.
types you play because
Brand
that
yourself
can
about
always
you.
change.
Yep.
It's more internal. It's basically what I was looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like my brand, I've been thinking a lot about like, what would I do? Like, what would be cool and fun? I'm probably gonna have a bunch of book stuff. Like I can see like an intro of like a book opening, and then an outro of a book closing, and like stuff like that or whatever. Do I read a bunch of books? Not anymore. Last book I read, I think, was like Game of Thrones, and those came out a while ago, like years ago. But like, I still love books. I love stories. I like that stuff. So like, it still fits, and it fits me, not games or other stuff.
The prime example, I just saw this tweet.
Oh,
Baru.
okay.
Baru is known for the panda, and the reason why I say this is because Rulik has been used 29,000 times today. What has he done? Because everyone knows that panda is Baru. Everyone
Baru.
knows that's him. Everybody knows that's him. They look at the panda as like,
Panda-
that's Baru.
Yeah. Sam, anything related to the rescue force with him, with the pandas or Sam, that's all Baru. You know
Yep.
that's him.
So
But
that is
you
what.
have he plays no games that have pandas
Nope.
whatsoever.
Nope.
He does not play any games with that.
But
So
he's
that's why I
silly.
wanna make sure,
But if you look at
but
the
he's silly.
if you look at the character, it's very goofy, it's very funny, it's
Yeah.
very character-ish and stuff like that. And that's Baru's mentality. He's very comical. He
That's
likes to have
him.
fun. That's how he is, and that's perfect for him.
Yeah. And that's what I want to make sure we put out there for people out there that are listening and wanting to do streaming and do stuff like that, is that your games don't dictate your branding. You dictate that your branding. You dictate that. Is basically what I want to make sure I put out there to everybody. My little nugget of knowledge out there for everybody is that you dictate how your branding looks, how or what your branding is. It's not your games. I mean, it can, but that could change. So you're putting a lot of eggs in one basket type thing if you go that route. Just be open to change because that is going to happen. Twitch is way unstable, nowhere near stable whatsoever to where you can pick this is what you're going to do and stay with it all the time.
Yep.
And that was my question.
Okay.
That was a good.
That was a good closing. That was a good closing. So with that, I don't want to continue and ruin that awesome ending. We're going to end
Yeah.
the stream. We're going to go ahead and start the plugs. We'll start with Harap. go ahead and do your plugs and all that stuff. Where can we find you? What are you gonna be planning on doing for the next 2 weeks?
Um, so my name is Rob. I play Dying Light main right now, but I'm almost finished with it. MMO RPG person also. Play a lot of WoW eventually. Hopefully this expansion doesn't kill me, but um, I really don't want to die after this expansion. I really don't. I really don't. I really hope this expansion keeps me alive, to tell you the truth. But anyway, so I'll be playing Dying Light up until it finishes. I may decide if I'm going to play some DLC or not. Anyway, you can also find me on Twitter at Harop1. There, Twitch is twitch.HROOP1. Um, I thought about it and I forgot. I'm thinking about seeing if I could get my name, but I don't know if it's there. I'm gonna try it today. But anyway,
Please, for the love of God, please change the name. The one
I'm gonna
is
see if I
just
can
so
get my
bad.
name back. I'm gonna see if I can get it back, but I don't know if it can though.
Okay,
All right, I'm done.
Hero, plugs.
All right, I'm Hero or Herodotus II. I likewise have thought a lot about that, but I think I'm gonna stick with the II because it stands for the Roman numeral 2 because there's already one Herodotus that has lived on this world, and I'm the second. I'm sure there's been more, but whatever. Okay.
That branding though.
So that branding though. So you can find me on Twitter at Herodotus_II. You can find me on Twitch at twitch.tv/HerodotusE with 2 eyes. And I will actually be streaming today, starting at 2, so in like an hour and a half. I think I'm gonna stream WoW. We're gonna see how that goes.
I believe in you. The voice though, your voice went up a little bit. You're a little questioning it a little bit. Don't be scared. Don't be scared, buddy.
I mean, I'm gonna play WoW, and we're just gonna see how. What I'm trying to do is Sunday is going to be my multiplayer game day. Hopefully, get to play a bunch with like some of my pals. We'll kind of see how it works out. This is going to be the first week. It's the second week of streaming and the first week that I'm trying to do a multiplayer game. I can tell you what I'm doing for the next 5 weeks. Playing Octopath Traveler on Saturdays from 2 to 6 because I have 10 more chapters to complete. And I do 2 chapters every Saturday. So I will be continuing Octopath Traveler. I'm going to be doing leveling up and stuff off stream, so that way we can go just boom right into all of the story stuff, the chapters on Saturday when I stream, and that's my story game day. After Octopath, it'll be something else, and I think that's it.
Cool.
Hero.
So, like I introduced myself, my name's T-Love. You could catch me on Twitch, T-Love_, so that's TLUV_. I play variety games, but I've been playing Warframe for the longest. Really trying to ingrain myself back into that game. Because I desperately need an MMO to stick with. Desperately need an MMO to stick with. For the next
People
2
love that
weeks,
grind.
yeah, right. For the next 2 weeks, I'm gonna be playing some Warframe. But the Walking Dead season 4 is supposed to be coming out soon. I think it was gonna come out in a week or 2.
Are you talking about Telltale?
Telltale, yes.
Oh, cool.
So if that is coming out I mean, it was supposed to be coming out here in the next couple of weeks or so. So when that comes out, I will be engulfing my time and energy into that game because I need to see what happened to Clem. Clem is a great name because it comes from Warframe. Clem is a
It
great
does
name
not
because it goes
come
on there.
from Warframe.
Clem,
Oh my
she is a heroic person in
Her name is
Telltale.
End the
Clementine.
stream now. Can we just end the stream now? This is
But yeah, website is up. We're
That
gonna
is a
be. I'm gonna
Warframe
be.
name.
I will be putting the podcast up on the website sometime this week. I gotta get the page set up and then get all the exports done. We're just gonna do audio files on there, and yeah, uh, take a look at all our channels, and that's all we have for the Baka No Podcast for this week. See y'all.